Hey there, fourth grade. This is Mr. Campbell. Today we're going to be working on lesson 7.2 factors, and we're going to be on page 265 today. At the end of this lesson, I want you to be able to say, I can use multiplication to find the factor pairs for a number. Now, last time we talked about factor pairs, and we talked about two things that can be multiplied together to get a specific product, the answer to a multiplication problem. And today we're going to talk about, well, just those factors. And when we talk about factors, what we're really saying is what are all of the numbers that are used when we're multiplying together to find an answer. All right. Well, we're going to dive in a little bit more on that on the next page. So go ahead and turn with me to page 266. So here we are on page 266, and we're going to take a look. It says, Jean wants to arrange her action figures in equal size groups. What are all the ways Jean can arrange her action figures? And then down here it says, Jean can think of all the factor pairs of 16. Factor pairs are the two whole numbers that when multiplied together give you a certain product. And again, product just means the answer to a multiplication problem. All right, so let's go ahead and check out our different ones. Now today, I'm going to ask you to grab your pencil with me as we go through these, because we're actually going to mark some things on here that should help us out once we get to our guided practice and independent practice. All right, so for box B, it says, well, we could take these 16 action figures, right, and make just one big group of those action figures. So one group of 16, all right, or we could say we have 16 groups of one, where each action figure is its own group. Either way, we can say that as 1 times 16 equals 16, or 16 times 1 equals 16. And so here's the part I want you to underline. So 1 and 16 are both factors of 16. So underline those two numbers right there. Box C says we could also make 8 groups of 2. So we put inside of each of these groups 2 action figures, right? Every single one of these. So 8 groups, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 groups with 2 in each one. Or we could do the flip fact, and we could say 2 groups with 8 in each one of those, right? And these are part of the same fact families, which is why Jean can arrange 8 groups of 2 action figures, or 2 groups of 8 figures, which means 2 times 8 equals 16, or 8 times 2 equals 16. Grab your pencil and underline 2 and 8 are factors of 16. All right. And our last one over here, it says, letter D says we can make 4 groups of 4. So we have 4 different groups here. And inside of each one, we've got 4 action figures, right? So 4 times 4 equals 16. So we're going to go ahead and underline 4 right there. Here's our factor pairs. The factor pairs for 16 are 1 and 16, 2 and 8, and 4 and 4. All right. Our factors are what we just underlined. We had 1, 16, 2, 8, and 4. Now, a lot of times when we do this, we like to put them more in numerical order. It just helps us out to be able to do it. So what I like to do, I'm going to slide down here to where it says convince me. All right. And here's what I like to do when I'm working on a problem like this. If I want all of the factor pairs of 16, all right, I'm going to do what's called rainbows. All right. I'm going to make my factor rainbows. Now, I know that any whole number can always be multiplied by 1 and itself, right? So 1 and 16. All right. Well, the next thing that I like to do is I go, okay, well, what about, I'm going to put my commas here and I'm going to go, what about 2? Can I multiply 2 by anything to get there? 2 times 8 is going to be 16, right? So I'm going to put my 2 over here and my 8 over here. All right. And then I'll say, what about 3? Can I multiply 3 by anything that will get me to 16? Well, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. No, there's no 3s. All right, so then I say, well, what about 4s? Can I multiply 4s by anything? And I say, well, 4 times 4, right? So 4 can also go in here. Now, here's why this is a really good method to go through this. All right. 1 and 16 can be multiplied together. 2 times 8 can be multiplied together. 4 and 4 can be multiplied. But I don't need to keep going because I already know that my two multiples have met here in the middle. I was going towards the middle as we were multiplying these things together. So now, watch this. If we were talking about factor pairs, right? Well, I already did 4 and 4, but now I can do 8 times 2 and 16 times 1. This is why it's called a factor rainbow. It's because if you look here, we can do this to show which ones are connected to each other. And when I do that, it helps me to see, oh, these are the ones that work together. Well, let's go ahead and check out a few more as we figure out what does this look like in our guided practice on page 267. All right, so here we are on page 267. Now, we're going to skip number 1 for right now, but take a look at number 2. I just want to point something out to you real fast. Number 2 says, what factor besides 1 does every even number have? Every even number will be divided by what other number? 1 and 2. If it's an even number, you know that it's going to have a factor of 1, it's going to have a factor of 2. Now, it might have more, or that might just be it. But whenever we know that it's an even number, we know that it will have at least 1 and 2 as factors. All right. Now, as we work on numbers 3, 4, 5, and 6, I'm going to go ahead and grab just a little bit of extra room. All right. I'm going to grab a sticky note for myself just because I'll write my final answer in here, but I'm going to go ahead and try to figure out some of these in just a second, okay? So if we take a look at number 3, well, what are the things that we can multiply together to get the product, the answer of 2? Well, I always can start off with 1 times 2, right? Well, if I've already gotten to 2, then the only other factor pair would be 2 times 1, but I don't want to rewrite that. I just want the factors to be written one time. So that's it. 1 and 2 is all that I would have for the number 2. All right. Well, let's go ahead and check out number 4 because that's going to be a little bit different. Our number here is 20. All right. So when I work on the number 20, I'm going to create my rainbow. And that's what I've got a little extra room over here. So if you've got some extra scrap paper, it might be good. If you've just got a little extra space to write somewhere, it'll help you out. All right. So we're going to go ahead and start with our number that we're trying to get to is 20. All right. So I always start off with 1 times, and then whatever that number was, so 20, right? 1 times 20 will equal 20. It's an even number, so I already know that 2 will work. Well, 2 times what will get me to 20? 2 times 10. I hope that you're answering as I ask these questions. Again, this is for you to be getting some practice, right? And I'm drawing my rainbow in right now as we go because it really does help as I work on these different types of problems, okay? So 1 times 20, 2 times 10. All right. Well, let's see what's next. I like to just go in order, and I say, what about 3? So we've got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. No, because I already went past my number. So 3 is not going to work. What about 4? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. Hey, there we go. 4 and 5. And I put this here in the middle because now I can go to the other side of my rainbow and I can have my factor pairs because 4 times 5 will be the same as 5 times 4. You see that? So I don't need to keep going and see about 6, 7, 8, 9 because I already know because I've already reached the middle of my rainbow. Okay? So for number 4, for 20, our factors were 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, and 20. All right? Those were our factor pairs. All right. We're going to skip number 5 for just a moment. All right? And we're going to go to number 6. And the reason for that is number 6, I think, is a little bit trickier of a problem. All right? It's a little bit trickier, so let's go ahead and jump in real quick. All right? So 54 is the number that I know that I'm going to want to use. All right? So I'm going to go ahead and start with 1 and 54. Okay, 1 and 54. Those are 1 times 54, and 54 times 1 will always give me my answer. This is also an even number, isn't it? It's an even number. 54, well, 4 is even, so I know that 2 is going to be a multiple for this. All right? Well, now I've got some work to do because, I don't know, 2 times 10 is 20, right? I'm going to grab another little bit of space here. So 2 times 10 is 20. All right. 2 times, let's just jump up to 20, right? 2 times 20, 2 of those would equal 40. I still haven't even got to my 54, but I see if I do that again, 2 times 30 is going to be 20, 40, 60. That's too much, right? I need to find something in the middle, and I see 54 actually is kind of in the middle, right? So let's do 2 times 25. So 2 times 5 is 10. So I put a 0 in my ones place, carry my 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. That's a good one to know. 2 times 25 is 50. I'm really close. Well, how many more am I going to need for 4? 2, 4. So let's try adding 2 more to that. So 2 times 27. 2 times 7 is 14. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 54. Hey, there's another factor. All right, 2 times 27. So I got my 2. That means over here I need to have 27. All right, we are cooking here. All right. Whew. All right, let's see. What else do we got? Let's go on to 3, right? I mean, 1, 2. Let's check out on our 3s. All right. So just like last time, I get some scratch paper. I'm going to start with 3. I'm not going to write it over here yet because I'm not sure if it's going to work. So 3s, right? 3 times 10 is 30. Not high enough to get to 54. 3 times 20, 2 3s is a 6. That's 60. That's too high. So again, I can see here already, I'm going to be closer to 60 than I want to be to 30, right? So I'm going to choose something kind of in the middle. I'll choose, how about 15? 3 times 15. 3 times 5 is 15. Carry my 1. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 45. Well, if I start at 45 and skip count by 3 more, so 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54. Hey, it worked out. I need to add 3 more to this number. 3 times 18. Let's check it. 3 times 8. 8, 16, 24. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5. That checks out. 54 is the number I'm looking for. So my next factors are 3 and 18. Perfect. All right. Well, let's try 4 next, right? I mean, everything's working out so far. It's an even number. It ends in 4. That would make sense, right? So let's see. So 4 times 10 is 40. All right. And if I do double that, 4 times 20, 4 times 2 is 8. It's 80. That's way, way, way too high. So I know if it's going to be something, it's going to be pretty close to here. It's only 14 more, right? So let's go up to, how about 4 times 15, right? Like that's in between. So 4 times 5, well, that's 20. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 is 60. That's too high. So that's not going to work. So, all right, let's back it up a little bit. How about 4 times 12, right? 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 1 is 4. Oh, we're at 48. Look, we're really close. All right, let's just do one more. 4 times 13. 4 times 3 is 12. Carry my 1. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. 52. Oh, man. All right, so let's try 4 times 14. 4 times 4 is 16. Carry my 1. 4 times 1 is 4 plus 1 is 5. 56. Uh-oh. Did we have 54 as one of our products over here? We did not, right? We did not have that be one of our products. So we know 4 is not going to work out. I don't even need to try 5 because my ones place is not a 0 or a 5. And that's what they always are. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. So I don't need to write out my 5s, right? Okay, so what about 6s? And hey, wait a second. 6s, I know that one. 6 times 9. That's one of those facts that I see a lot. 6 times 9. All right. I don't even need to write that one out. So 6 times 9. 7 times 8. No, 7 times 7 is 49. That doesn't work. This is it. I know that because I just checked my middle ones. 8 and 7 can't multiply to get there. So here's my fact rainbow. All right. There's my fact rainbow. My factors here for 54 are 1. Write them with me. 2, 3, 6, 9. I'm going to start a new line. So comma. 18, 27, and 54. There was a lot of them there. And there were some pretty big numbers. But that's exactly how I would go through and I would solve these problems. I choose a big number to start with. And then I just kind of keep going from there. All right. All right. Well, let's go ahead and check out our next one. Okay. 28. 28. What would be my factors of 28? And I'm going to grab my extra piece of paper. I'm going to actually ask you to pause your video and see if you can solve what factors we would want for 28. What are my factors going to be right here? And even if you're saying, you know what, Mr. Campbell, I'm still not feeling super confident, you already know that there's at least 2 right there. We already know that right from the jump because this is an even number and we can always multiply by 1. So go ahead, try this out, and then we'll go over it together. All right, I hope you paused your video. We're going to go over number 5, which is 28 together right now. All right? So for 28, I told you we can start off with 1 and 28, right? We can start right there. I also see it's an even number, which means that I can divide it by 2, or I can multiply by 2. So here's what I'm going to go ahead and do real quick. 2, I'm going to have 28 divided by 2. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 2 times 14 is 28. There we go. Let's go ahead and try out 3 would be next, right? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. I did not get 28 in there. What about 4? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28. Hey, so 4 and 7. All right. So 4 and 7. What about 5? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. No. And that means 6. Well, 6 times 6 is 36, so that's not going to work. This is it. This is my factor rainbow. All right. Those are my factors. Those are the only ones that are going to work. So you should have written 1, 2, 4, 7, 14, 28. And I always like to try to keep them separate, something like that. I want to check out 2 more down here, and then I'm going to let you get started on your independent practice, all right? So let's slide down here real quick to number 8. For number 8, they're only asking for factor pairs, all right? And in this case, they're asking for specific factor pairs. So the first one, 1 and, that should be super easy. What's it going to be? 39. 39, because 1 times 39 is 39. Now my next one is blank and 13. I do not know my 13 facts. I don't know about you. Maybe you've got them memorized. But what I do know is that I can go ahead and say, well, I can do repeated addition. So 13 plus 13 is 26. That's not 39. I add one more 13 to that. 6 plus 3 is 9. 2 plus 1 is 3, and that's what I'm looking for. How many 13s did I need? 1, 2, 3. 3 and 13. Okay, and I can double check that if I'm not exactly sure. 3 times 3 is 9. 1 times 3 is 3 for 39. Okay. Check out number 10. How are we going to solve number 10? Well, this goes back to what we said earlier. Right up here. What factor besides 1 does every even number have? 2. This is an even number. So I've got 1, and then I know my second factor pair is going to have 2. 1 and should be the easiest one we got all day. 14. And then I say 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. How many did I have? 7. So 2 and 7. That's how you can solve these over here. If they just give you blanks, you got to figure it out. You find something that'll work for those. That means that there's going to be more than one. Remember, if it's an even number, you can always do 2 as the other factor pair. All right, fourth grade. It's a tricky lesson, but I hope you followed along with me. It's kind of fun to find these different factors, to start to get it and go, oh, I see the different things we can multiply to get the same answer. That's all that we're looking for in these different factors. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. We will see you next time.